The stranger in the dust. The twin suns were setting, casting a red glow over the endless desert. Wind blew softly across the sand, lifting small clouds of dust. The land was quiet, too quiet. Jace, a human scavenger, rode his old hoverbike across the dunes, heading back to his shelter before the night beasts came out. He was tired, dusty, and hungry. His day had brought him nothing but scrap metal and dry bones. He sighed and adjusted his goggles, but then something strange caught his eye. Far ahead, a small shape moved in the sand. At first he thought it was just desert wind pushing cloth, but no. It was a body. Someone was crawling, slowly, weakly, dragging themselves across the burning ground. Jace stopped his bike. He grabbed his old blaster from the side and approached slowly. The figure was thin, trembling, and half covered in torn robes. As he got closer, he saw a long tail twitch under the cloth and purple skin, dry and cracked from the heat. An alien. A woman. She looked up at him with large, glowing violet eyes filled with pain and something else. Desperation. "Please, water," she whispered in broken galactic common. "Please, help me." Jace's grip on the blaster tightened for a second. He had seen traps like this before, but something about this one felt different. She didn't reach for a weapon. She didn't lie. Her body was too thin, too weak. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. He took a slow breath. "All right, don't move," he said, lowering his weapon. From his backpack, he pulled out a small metal flask. The alien woman reached out with shaking hands. She drank quickly, spilling some water on her face and chest. Then she coughed and gasped. Her eyes met his again. "You... human?" she asked. Jace nodded. "Yeah, name's Jace." She placed her hand over her heart. "Terrell," she said softly, I must live. I must carry life." Jace frowned. "What?" She grabbed his arm. "Please, my kind, they left me to die. But I can carry child. Only human now." You can give," Jace pulled back in shock. "Wait, you want me to? Look, lady, I just met you. What's going on here?" But Terrell's body gave up. Her eyes rolled back and she collapsed onto the sand. Jace caught her before her head hit the ground. He looked around. The sky was growing darker. Creatures would come soon. Night beasts with long claws and sharp teeth. He couldn't leave her out here. Whether she was crazy or not, she would be dead by morning. "Damn it," Jace muttered. He picked her up. She was lighter than he expected, her bones sharp under her skin. He placed her on the back of his hoverbike and wrapped a cloth around her to keep the wind off. Then he turned the bike and sped toward his shelter. Jace's home was an old mining outpost, hidden between two jagged cliffs. Solar panels still worked, barely. Inside he had food, water, and one soft bed made from stitched cloth. He laid Terrell on the bed and checked her for wounds. She had burns on her shoulders, bruises along her arms, and strange marks across her belly. Symbols, maybe. Ritual. Scars? She moaned in her sleep, saying words in a language he didn't understand. Then suddenly her body jerked and she sat up, gasping. "Where am I?" she cried. "You're safe," Jace said, holding up his hands. "You passed out. I brought you to my shelter." Terrell looked around, breathing fast. "They will come. They will kill." "Who? Who's coming?" Jace asked. She looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. "My people. They do not allow failure. They left me because I could not produce child. But now, there is hope. You are hope." Jace shook his head. "Listen, I think you're still sick. Maybe dehydrated. Let's get you food first. Then you can explain whatever this is." She leaned forward, trembling. "There is no time. The ritual starts with heat moon. It is near. My body will be ready. But if no bond happens, I will die in pain." Jace stepped back. "Look, I don't know anything about alien rituals. I'm not some kind of breeder. But..." Terrell reached into her robes and pulled out a glowing crystal. She placed it in his hand. You saved me. You have my life. Now, give me yours. He stared at the crystal, then at the woman in front of him. Dirty, weak, beautiful in a strange alien way, and completely serious. Jace had a bad feeling in his gut. Something big was happening. Something he didn't yet understand, but he had already taken the first step, and now there was no going back. Taral sat on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a soft gray blanket Jace had given her. Her skin, though still dry and marked with dust, looked calmer under the warm lights of the shelter. Her eyes didn't move much. They stayed fixed on the glowing fire unit in the corner, as if staring at old memories hidden inside the flames. Jace stood near the counter, heating a small packet of nutrient stew. He kept looking at her, unsure what to say. The silence between them wasn't angry, it was heavy, like both of them were standing at the edge of something they didn't want to face. Taral broke the silence first. On my world, if you cannot carry life, you are nothing. Jace blinked. What do you mean? She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders, as if the words she was about to say made her cold. Our clans, they test us early. At 13 cycles, every female is examined. Hormone levels, womb strength, egg growth. If results are weak, you are marked. Marked? He asked carefully. Taral turned her head and gently pulled the blanket away from her side. Across her ribs, burned into the skin, was a symbol, 2 sharp lines with a slash through them. The mark of a failed breeder. They call us voided, useless. I was one of them. But I never believed it. Her voice shook. I knew my body still had fire in it. Jace placed the bowl in front of her. And they just threw you out? They told me I could stay? She whispered. But only as a servant. No clan, no future, no rights. I left before they could cage me. Jace looked down. Even in all the wild zones of space he had visited, this felt crueler than anything he'd seen. Back on Earth, life was hard, but at least people weren't thrown away for their biology. She ate slowly, spoon by spoon, then placed the bowl aside. After I left, I searched for something they feared to admit. Stories, legends, that some of us, those marked void, might still awaken if touched by a different kind of mate. Jace raised an eyebrow. A different kind? She met his eyes. A human. He stepped back, caught off guard. You're saying you traveled across the stars to find a human man to— Yes, she said without shame. Because deep inside me something woke when I met your kind. I saw your war records, your adaptability, your biology. Her voice softened. And your kindness. Jace gave a half laugh. Most people don't call me kind. I'm just a scavenger. But you didn't leave me to die, she said firmly. Even though you had nothing to gain. He looked away. Her words hit deeper than they should have. For years he had wandered from world to world, fixing machines, salvaging wrecks, always alone. And now this woman, this alien, was calling him her hope. I still don't understand, he muttered. Why me? Why not some other human from the colonies? Because I've watched you, she said quietly. Your signal, your voice. For months I tracked it through desert satellites. You were the only one who stayed in the wastelands, the only one without a team. I had no clan. You had no crew. She reached into her pouch and took out a data crystal. Jace accepted it and placed it into the reader. The screen showed genetic files, forbidden scrolls from Taral's people, diagrams of alien and human DNA merging, medical theories, notes claiming that rejected females from her world could bond with certain strands of human sperm, activating what their own kind could not. Jace stared at the screen, stunned. These are real? Taral nodded. I stole them from a high temple before I ran. That's why they hunt me. I carry forbidden knowledge, and now, a chance for a child. He looked up at her. So if I say no, what happens? She took a long breath. Then I return to the sand. I die slowly. No one else will help me. My body has 1 cycle left before it shuts down. When the heat moon rises in 3 days, it will begin the final phase. My body will cry for life. If none comes, it will destroy itself. Jace stared at her, his heart heavy. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She just told the truth, with dignity, like someone who had nothing left but her pride. He sat down beside her. "I'm not a hero," he said slowly, "and I've never done anything like this. But if what you say is true, it is." She interrupted softly. "Then I'm not walking away," Jace finished. She didn't smile, but her fingers reached out and gently touched his hand. Her skin was warm now, soft, and alive. Outside, the desert winds whispered across the cliffs. But inside the shelter, a quiet decision had been made. The next morning, the desert was quiet, but the air inside the small shelter was thick with unspoken thoughts. Jace didn't sleep much that night. He kept watching the strange data Tiral had brought, charts, research, and scrolls that told a story hard to believe. A story of rejected women, alien rituals, and forbidden hope. Tiral stayed curled in the corner, covered in the blanket. She didn't say much, but her eyes never left Jace. When the sun rose high and burned through the windows, she finally stood. Her steps were slow but steady. She walked over to where Jace was repairing a broken filter near the workbench. He didn't turn around. "Feeling better?" "Yes," she said. Her voice was calm now but carried weight. "My body is waking. I feel the early heat." Jace stopped working and turned to face her. "You sure you're ready to talk about all this?" She nodded. "There's no more time to wait." She walked to the center of the room and removed the thin cloth from her shoulders, revealing the skin marked with tribal lines and the faint glow under her collarbone, a sign of rising life force, as described in her records. "I want your child," she said clearly, "and I offer myself completely." Jay stood still, stunned. He knew this was coming. He'd seen it in her eyes. He heard it in her stories. But hearing it spoken so openly, so directly, shook him. "You don't even know me," he replied. "Why would you give yourself like this?" Tiral stepped forward slowly. "Because I must, and because I choose to." Jace ran his hand through his hair. "This isn't just a job or some favor, Tiral. It's life. A child, a future." "Yes," she said. "That's what I want." "But why me?" he asked again. She looked deep into his eyes. "Because you are kind when you have no reason to be. Because you speak gently even when confused. Because your heart listened before your mind did. My people test bloodlines and power, but I test spirit. Yours feels safe." Jace turned away, walking to the window. The desert outside was so large, so empty. He had spent years running from everything: war, loss, betrayal. He never thought anyone would ask him to build something again. And now, this alien woman stood behind him, not begging, but offering a life with purpose. He spoke softly. "I've seen death, Tiral. I've buried friends, held children with no parents. I didn't come to this planet to save anyone. I came to disappear." She came closer. "But maybe this is not the end of your journey. Maybe it's a new path." He sighed. "What if I say yes? What then? You carry my child and just leave?" She lowered her eyes. "If you wish it, but I would not want to go alone." Jace turned to her again. "You mean you'd stay? If I am allowed? If you want me to? We could raise it together, your ways and mine, mixed but strong." He stared at her, at the glow in her chest, at the hope in her voice, and at the scars of exile on her body. She was not weak. She was not helpless. She was determined to fight fate, even if she had to offer her soul to a stranger. Jace finally stepped forward and placed his hand over hers. "If we do this, we do it my way. Slow, safe, and real. No rushing, no strange rituals. Just trust." Tiral nodded, her fingers tightening slightly around his. Trust is enough. They stood like that for a moment in quiet understanding. Then suddenly the communicator on Jace's workbench lit up. A flashing red light. A signal. Jace rushed over and tapped the screen. Unregistered craft entering Sector 12. Unknown. Transponder. Bioscanners active. He looked back at Terrell. Her face turned pale. They found me, she whispered. Jace grabbed a blaster from under the table. Who are they? Clan searchers, she said, her voice trembling. They come to confirm my death. If they find me alive, bonded with a human, it will be war. Jace felt a rush of anger. Then let them come. She looked at him, with wide eyes. You don't have to fight for me. I already chose to, Jace said. We're in this together now. Outside, dust rose in the horizon. The ships were coming. Inside the shelter, a human man and an alien woman stood ready, not as strangers anymore, but as partners facing the storm. The red warning light kept flashing on the screen. Outside, the sound of engines hummed low in the sky, growing louder with each passing second. Terrell moved toward the window and stared out at the dusty horizon. 3 dark shapes floated toward them, fast and silent, like shadows with purpose. They won't land, she said. They'll scan first, they'll confirm I'm alive and who I'm with. Jace checked his old blaster, eyes narrowed. And when they find out you're not dead? That a human helped you? Terrell's voice dropped. Then they'll try to destroy us both. I broke their sacred law. Jace walked toward her. You told me they left you because your body couldn't carry life. That's already cruel. But why hunt you now? Terrell hesitated. Her fingers trembled as they reached into her satchel. From a secret pocket, she pulled out a small silver disc, smooth, no buttons. She placed it on the table between them. A quiet hum filled the room as a hologram rose above it. It showed a family tree. Long, complicated. Symbols glowed in red, yellow, and gold. Jace stared at it confused until she pointed to a glowing mark near the top. That is me, she said softly. His eyes widened. Wait, what? I was not just from a breeding clan, she explained. I was born from the royal line, the future queen mother. My body was supposed to carry the next generation of rulers. Jace's stomach turned. Your royalty? I was, she said bitterly, until the test said I was empty. The council called me cursed. They could not kill me outright. That would shame the line. So they marked me and cast me away. Quietly, secretly, no public exile. No one was supposed to know I still existed. Jace stepped back, processing her words. So if you return carrying a child, they will fear me, she said. They will fear the bloodline continuing outside their control. They will fear what kind of power that child could hold, especially if it's half-human. Jace looked down at the disc again. His mind spun with the weight of it all. He wasn't just helping a poor alien woman survive anymore. He was standing next to a hidden royal, one who carried secrets powerful, enough to shake her entire world. He rubbed his face. This is too big. I was just supposed to fix things and sell scrap. I didn't sign up for royal drama and alien politics. Terrell stepped closer. I didn't ask for this either, Jace. I didn't want to be queen. I just wanted a family. I wanted to feel whole. Her voice cracked. I wanted to be seen as more than just a womb. That stopped him. He looked into her eyes, tired, glowing, full of fire and sadness. He saw someone who had been pushed down her whole life, not because of weakness, but because of fear. Others feared what she could become if she ever had the chance. Okay, he said finally. So what do we do now? She picked up the disc and turned it off. We hide, for now. If they land, we stay underground. You said you have old mining tunnels? Jace nodded. Yeah, they run deep. From the old days. Haven't been used in years. She stepped closer, her voice more steady now. Then we go there. Wait until their scans end. They can't scan deep into the rock. I know their tech. It's limited. He grabbed supplies, water, heat packs, the crystal containing her genetic data, and an old map of the tunnels. Together they moved quickly, heading out through a hidden door behind the generator. The tunnels opened before them like a giant mouth, cold, dark, and full of dust. As they walked, Jace noticed her breathing change. Her body trembled now and then. He glanced at her. "You all right?" "The heat is growing," she said. "My body. It knows. The bonding phase is nearing." "Can we wait it out?" he asked. She shook her head. "There is no waiting. It must happen within days. Or the body turns against itself. That's how nature punishes the unclaimed." Jace walked in silence. Part of him still wanted to run. This was all too fast, too strange. But another part, a deeper part, felt drawn to her. She wasn't demanding. She wasn't forcing anything. She was trusting him, something he hadn't felt in years. They reached a quiet spot inside, the tunnels, far from the surface. Jace set down the supplies and made a small camp with soft blankets and old light panels. Taral sat beside him, her breathing still shaky. She looked at him and whispered, "I'm scared." He looked into her eyes and said, "Me too." But they sat there, alien and human, both broken in different ways, both carrying secrets neither could escape. Above them, the alien ship scanned the surface, looking for someone who refused to stay silent. And deep underground, a spark of something new had already begun. The sky was a dull gray as dawn broke over the desert. Outside the hidden tunnels, the three alien ships hovered like silent predators. Their scanners swept the wasteland, searching for any sign of life. But deep beneath the earth, Jace and Taral were safe. For now. Jace sat by the small fire he had made inside the cave. The flickering light danced on the walls, casting long shadows. Taral leaned against the cold stone, her eyes distant. The weight of her past and the danger outside hung heavy in the air. "We can't stay here forever," Jace said quietly, breaking the silence. "They'll keep looking. Their scanners will grow stronger." Taral nodded. "They will not stop until they find me. But they cannot reach us here. The tunnels are old. Their technology only scans surface levels." Jace frowned. "We need a plan. We can't just hide." Taral's gaze softened. "I know, but I am weak now. The heat is coming fast. My body burns with need and fear. Without the bond, I will die." Jace looked at her, seeing her vulnerability for the first time. The strong, proud alien woman now seemed fragile, like a child scared of the dark. "Tell me," he said gently, "what happens during this heat?" She swallowed hard. "It is a time when my body calls for life. The ancient ritual demands, bonding with a mate. If the bond is not made, the body breaks down. Pain, sickness, death." Jace shivered at the thought. "And if you bond with me?" She smiled faintly. "Then life grows inside me. The bond protects me, and my child may be the bridge between our two worlds." Jace reached out, taking her hand in his. "We'll get through this. Together." Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed through the tunnel entrance. Both froze. Footsteps. Jace grabbed his blaster. Taral stood, her eyes wide but calm. The heavy metal door at the cave's mouth creaked open slowly. 3 figures stepped inside. Alien hunters, their armor dark and scarred, weapons ready. Jace stepped forward. "You're not welcome here." The lead hunter's voice was cold. "Taral, you have broken your clan's laws. You will come with us." Taral shook her head. "I am no longer part of your clan. I carry forbidden hope. I will not return." One hunter sneered. "The child you carry will not be allowed. It is an abomination." Jace stood in front of her. "This is my home now. If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The hunters laughed, raising their weapons. The fight was brutal. Jace fired, his blaster hitting one hunter's leg. Taral moved with surprising speed, dodging blows and using her tail to trip another. Together, human and alien fought side by side. The tunnel echoed with grunts and laser fire. Finally, the hunters retreated, wounded and angry. Jace helped Taral sit down. "Are you okay?" She nodded, breathing hard. "Thanks to you." They looked at each other, the danger bringing them closer. As the sun rose higher, they knew the hunters would return with more force. The desert was no longer a safe place. But Taral's body was changing. The heat was stronger. Her skin glowed faintly. She needed bonding soon, or her time would run out. Jace felt a deep responsibility. He was no longer just a scavenger, was protector, partner, and soon, father. Together they prepared for the next challenge, against enemies, time, and fate itself. The cave was quiet, but inside Taral's body, a storm was building. She sat near the soft glow of a heater stone, wrapped in a thick blanket but still shaking. Her breathing was shallow, her fingers twitching. Jace watched from across the small space, worry carved deep into his face. It had been 3 days since they had hidden in the tunnels. 3 days since the first group of hunters came and left, wounded but not defeated. They would return, stronger, angrier. And now, time was against them. The moon outside had turned orange, the beginning of the heat moon, a sign that her final phase had begun. Taral leaned forward, holding her stomach. "It's starting," she whispered, her voice raw. "The cycle has begun. My body is preparing for bonding. If we wait longer, I may not survive." Jace kneeled beside her. "Then we won't wait." Her eyes opened, glowing faintly in the dim light. "Are you sure?" "I need your bond, Jace, but I won't force it." He nodded slowly. "This isn't just about survival anymore. I want to do this. For you. For the life we might create." She reached for his hand. Her skin was warmer, now her pulse faster. A golden glow was starting to show through the lines on her arms, ancient symbols of her species that activated only during true bonding. It was happening. "Lie back," she said gently. "This part, it must be done with full heart." Jace obeyed, unsure but calm. Taral sat across from him, placing both of her hands on his chest. A soft vibration moved through the air, and the cave filled with the hum of something old and powerful. It was not just mating. It was a ritual of spirit and soul, something far deeper than any human experience. Her eyes closed. She began to chant in her native tongue, and the glow from her skin brightened, wrapping around Jace like mist. He felt warmth enter his chest, travel through his limbs into his thoughts. His heart pounded, not from fear but from something new, something that felt like purpose. Images filled his mind, visions from her past. A younger Taral running through high towers with other royal children, her training, her exile, her loneliness in the dark. Then came new visions of her watching his signal from afar, seeing him save a desert child from a machine trap, hearing his voice across the comms when no one else would speak kindly to an alien stranger. She had been watching him for months. Suddenly, the connection flipped. Now she saw his memories. A younger Jace holding his brother as he died in battle. His days as a soldier. His decision to leave Earth. His fear of being responsible for another life again. But with each shared thought, the bond grew stronger. Taral leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. "It's working," she said softly. "Our bodies are joining." A symbol formed on the side of Jace's neck, a mark invisible to the human eye but sacred to her people. It meant chosen. And then, like a deep exhale from the universe, everything went still. The glow faded, the hum stopped, and silence returned to the cave. Jace opened his eyes slowly. Taral was breathing gently now, her body no longer shaking. Her skin had cooled, the golden glow now soft and steady in her chest. "It's done," she whispered. "You saved me. I carry life." He sat up, blinking. "So, you're pregnant?" She smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Yes. is beginning. It is real. Jace didn't know what to say. A few days ago he was just a lonely man in a desert full of scrap. Now he was bonded to a royal alien, and a child, their child, was forming in her womb. I don't know what kind of father I'll be, he admitted quietly. You don't have to be perfect, Terrell said. Just be kind, be strong, be you. They sat in silence, hands locked, heads leaning against each other. For a moment they forgot the danger outside, the hunters, the rules, the fear. But then, from deep in the tunnel, a faint beep echoed. A motion sensor. Jace stood fast, grabbing his scanner. He stared at the display. 2 ships had landed above their location. The hunters had returned. They're back, he said. Terrell stood too, slower now, one hand protectively on her stomach. Then we faced them together. Bonded. Unbreakable. Jace nodded. His fear was still there, but now, something stronger was rising inside him, something called courage. Outside, the hunters prepared for war, but inside the earth, a new family had already begun. The desert wind howled above the cave, sharp and restless. 2 alien ships hovered low in the sky, their engines humming like angry wasps. Inside the cave, Jace adjusted his blaster's grip while watching the motion scanner closely. The red dots were getting closer. 2 squads, armed, searching. Trall stood beside him, her body calm but alert. The bond was sealed, and inside her, new life had already begun to grow. Her skin glowed faintly, the golden light from her chest now soft and constant. She wasn't weak anymore. She wasn't desperate, she was something more. They will not accept this child, she said, her voice steady. They fear what it means. A new line, part human. A bloodline they cannot control. Jace didn't blink. Then we don't give them the choice. They moved together through the cave's back tunnels, deeper underground. Jace knew the paths well. He had mapped every stone and wall when he first arrived on this planet. Back then, it was just for escape. Now it was for survival. For her, and for their unborn child. Terrell stopped suddenly, her eyes flashed. I can feel them, she said, their minds, their anger. They think I am broken. Still worthless. Jace turned to her. Let them come. You're not alone now. Footsteps echoed from above. Dust fell from the rocks. Then came the voices, sharp, cold, full of power. Terrell of House Vera, called a soldier. You are ordered to surrender. You carry corrupted life. Come forward, and the human may live. Jace laughed dryly. Not a chance. Terrell's eyes narrowed. They never cared if I lived or died. I was only useful if I could breed on command. But now I have chosen, and they hate that. Jace placed his hand on her back. Then let's show them your choice has power. They moved toward the front cave, the place where light touched stone and where the hunters would enter. Jace stood in the open, blaster raised. Terrell stepped beside him, tall and proud. The soldiers arrived in formation, 6 armored warriors, weapons aimed. The leader stepped forward, his helmet shaped like a serpent. You have defied the council, traitor, he hissed, and bonded with a lesser species. This ends now. Terrell spoke clearly. I have followed the true path. I am bonded by will, not by law. This child inside me is royal, stronger than anything your council fears. The hunter laughed. You think anyone will follow a half-breed heir? She raised her hand. The golden light flared from her palm. The symbol of the ancient bloodline shimmered in the air, visible even to them. The laughter stopped. The soldiers hesitated. One of them, younger, stepped forward. She carries the royal mark, the leader growled. That mark is not proof. We end this now. He lifted his weapon, aimed straight at her chest. Jace didn't think. He moved fast, stepping in front of her and firing first. The shot struck the ground near the soldier's feet, forcing him back. The other soldiers raised their rifles, but Terrell held up both hands. Enough! Her voice boomed across the rocks. The walls trembled with energy. Her power, now awakened, flowed through her blood, no longer weak, no longer hidden. "I am no longer a forgotten exile," she declared. "I am bonded. I carry the next heir, and if you strike me down, the clans will burn in civil war." The soldiers lowered their guns. The leader's face twisted in rage, but he said nothing. Jace stepped forward. "We're leaving this world. She's not your prisoner anymore." There was silence. Then the younger soldier bowed his head slightly. "By law, a bonded female with child cannot be harmed." One by one, the rest followed. Even the leader, furious and stiff, gave a slow nod. Without another word, they turned and walked back toward their ships. Jace let out a long breath. "They're gone." Taral didn't speak. She was staring up at the rising sky through the cave opening. The light from the twin suns broke through the clouds, washing over her like a blessing. "I never thought I would see this day," she said softly. "To stand tall, to be protected, to carry life without fear." Jace walked beside her. "You'll never be alone again." She turned to him, her eyes wet but shining. "You were supposed to be just a traveler, a stranger in the desert. But now, you are my bondmate, the father of my child, my future." He smiled. "Not bad for a junk collector, huh?" They both laughed. Later, as the suns climbed higher and the ships left the sky, Jace and Taral packed what little they had. They would leave the desert behind. Somewhere, on a quiet green world, they would build a home. Not as fugitives, but as a family,